The Fender Princeton is undeniably one of the most popular guitar amplifiers ever made. I remember gigging my old Silverface for over a decade and I adored that amplifier. I still miss it a lot to this day. Since being introduced in the 60s, there have been many different versions and changes to this amplifier, but this particular one I had no idea existed until a few weeks ago. It's a Sweetwater modified Princeton 65 Reverb. At first glance, this looks identical to the standard Fender production model, but the in-house technicians did a few things that would otherwise void your warranty if you were to do them on your own. The first of which being a really popular modification, the addition of a mid-control that's located on the rear of the amplifier itself. This allows you to go from the traditional blackface tones that we know and love from these amplifiers into a little bit more of the tweed territory. They also made tweaks to the tremolo circuitry. They slowed down the speed, also known as the rate, as well as they altered the intensity a little bit to give you a wider kind of variety of usable tones. But there were two other things that really jumped out to me, at least on paper when I saw this amplifier for the first time. The first of which being the price. It's the exact same price as the standard production model, $1499.99 at the time of filming this in the United States. So at that point, seems like a no-brainer. But what about the warranty? It comes with a 2-year warranty from Sweetwater. So if you were to do these mods on your own or pay a tech locally to do them for you, I highly doubt that they're going to give you that same sort of leadway should something go wrong. In that last clip, I wasn't using any pedals. I had the volume just a hair past 5, and on a regular Princeton 65 reissue, I'd be getting a little bit of breakup with the guitar like this, but certainly not the same kind of grit that I was able to get because I had the mid control maxed out. And that to me is a mark of a great addition to this amplifier, and I can see why it's such a popular modification people make. Just to give you an idea of how much this impacts the sound, we're going to sweep through the entire range, going from 0 on the mid control all the way up to 10, and then back to 0 using a Telecaster. Now we're going to do a very similar test with the tremolo. This time we're going to focus on the speed. We're going to start with it at its slowest possible setting, working our way up to the maximum. When it comes to the intensity, we're going to have that all the way up just so it's very easy to hear the differences. And that's pretty much the long and short of it. This amplifier can do everything that the original Princeton 65 reissue can do and a little bit more. However, I can't help but wonder, was there anything else that could have been improved? Alright, you see this cable? This is not a super high quality cable. It'll get the job done, but it's prone to fail and it's not something that's really repairable. You're better off just replacing it, and it's something that I'm going to replace pretty much straight away. The other thing is, these quick connects, listen to that. Not good. These are not soldered on. I would recommend soldering them on, but really, I would just ditch the cable entirely, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to install one of these. This is a switchcraft jack. And what makes me laugh about it is that here's the foot switch, right? This also comes with the same amp. If you read that right there, I don't know if it's going to show up with the light if I go too close with the camera. It is a switchcraft jack on the actual foot switch. However, to the speaker, you don't get that. Another upgrade I'd love to see on these from Sweetwater would be a new reverb tank. The connections on this one aren't exactly the best, not the actual external ones, but inside the tank itself. And updating is something that I use like in the Music Man. I have a mod tank in there. A Ruby or a Mojotone will also do the trick, and they're a lot more reliable. The last upgrade I could only dream Sweetwater would do in the future going forward with these amplifiers would be to replace the original filter caps that come with these with a higher spec model. And the reason for that is you get a lot more life out of the amplifier before you need to have it recapped. The ones that come with this, they'll last for a few years, and in some cases, if you use the amp sparingly, a little bit longer than that. But for just a little bit more money, we're talking under $50 for the parts themselves. Obviously, the labor is its own thing, and the price of the amp will probably go up, but it would be well worth it because you'd be looking at over a decade more time for the caps to potentially give you a life. And for me and for my money, it would be worth it. Full disclosure, I am not a qualified amp technician. I'm just somebody who's taken an interest in these circuits, and I've been trying to educate myself and listen to actual experts for things to look out for and things that can be upgraded, because at the end of the day, these things aren't exactly cheap. Not just this, but a lot of valve or tube amplifiers these days. So you want to make sure you're going to get something that's reliable, that's serviceable, and importantly, you know, sounds good. With Sweetwater, you do have a 2-year warranty on this, so that is a nice peace of mind considering these mods would void your warranty as stated earlier in this video. But, you know, all talk aside here, I just want to say this one thing. As I was filming this video today, I started off with the super Thinline Telecaster Deluxe because I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I freaking love that guitar. I thought the amp sounded really good with it. Played the Jazzmaster second, and I was like, this guitar really annoys me. I broke a string while we were filming. Less said the better about that one. It needs a little bit of work. I didn't truly fall back in love with the Princeton until I played this guitar. Now, I'm not sure how much of it is this guitar, how much of it is the amp, or just a combination of the two of them. But for me and for my money, not only is this the very best Telecaster that I have ever owned, this is the best guitar I've ever owned, and the sound that a good Tele makes with a Princeton Reverb, it's one of my favorites in the whole world. If you'd like any more information, there will be a link in the description of this video. You can head on over to Sweetwater. I'd like to thank the people at Sweetwater for providing me with this amplifier to make today's video and other future videos going forward. And to thank you for spending your time with me today. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take it easy, everybody.